Hello, this is Anthony with BBSN, and we have a special Easter one-off for you today. This is the Addies Joss All-Star Game Tribute, and in celebration of getting the 1911 season set Friday, I just wanted to get a one-off game done with this. This will be something I'll do a project with this season at some point. And actually the project I was thinking of is a what if Addies Joss had not passed away prior to the 1911 season and stayed to pitch for the Indians. So that probably is where I'll go at this point, subject to change of course. But in the meantime, at least wanted to get one game in with a set. So what better game than the first actual, though unofficial, All-Star game in Major League Baseball history. So in this one, the 1911 All-Stars are made up of players from the other 7 teams in the American League, who of course came together to play an exhibition game against the Indians to raise money for Addies Joss's wife Lillian and his 2 children. And attendance at this game was over 15,000, and they raised over 12,000 in proceeds to help pay off Joss's medical bills and also provide living expenses for the widow and children. So with that, we'll be playing Super Advanced. One thing I do different with Super Advanced, when there are runners on base, I do not roll the 1 die 20 before every at bat. I just don't like doing that, personal preference. So to determine if there is a wild pitch, pass ball, or balk opportunity, if I roll triples, a potential wild pitch, balk, or pass ball will occur prior to whatever result is on the card. So for triple 1s through triple 3s, it would be a wild pitch. Triple 4, triple 5 are a pass ball, and a triple 6 would be a balk. And again, an example there, I roll a triple 2 before executing the result on the card. I would first check for a wild pitch. So that's pretty much it. Some minor tweaks with super advanced rules here and there, but for the most part I'll go by the standard rules. And again, it's what's great about Strat. You can tailor the rules to fit the way you like to play. So, and that said, our starting lineups today for the 1911 American League All-Stars, leading off and playing center field will be Tris Speaker. Eddie Collins will bat second and play second base. Ty Cobb hits third in right field. Home Run Baker will bat fourth and be at third base for the All-Stars. Cobb's teammate Sam Crawford will be in left field and hit fifth. Hal Chase, who is the subject of our kind of high-level vlog this morning, the corrupt one from the New York Highlanders, will bat sixth and play first. The St. Louis Browns' only representative, his first name Bobby Wallace, I should know that. Bobby Wallace will be at shortstop and bat seventh. Gabby Street will be catching and hit eighth, and on the mound for the All-Stars will be Smokey Joe Wood from the Red Sox. And the Indians lineup, leading off in left field, will be Jack Graney. Ivy Olson will be at shortstop, hit second. Shoeless Joe Jackson bats third. He'll be in right field. Batting cleanup, first baseman Napoleon Lajoie. Joe Birmingham will hit fifth, be in center field. Neil Ball will bat sixth, be at second base. Terry Turner bats seventh, and he's at third today. And Ed Easterly will be catching and bat eighth. And obviously, Addies Joss did not pitch in this game since he was deceased, but I do have the Hall of Fame set. So Cy Young actually got the start for the Indians in this game and gave up 3 runs to the All-Stars in his 3 innings pitched. But I thought it would be fitting to just go ahead and bring Joss out and let him start the game. And we'll have him go the first 6 innings and let Cy Young close the show, go the last 3. For the All-Stars, 3 pitchers will each go 3 innings. Smokey Joe Wood, again the starter. Walter Johnson will pitch the 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then Russ Ford from the Highlanders will close it out. So with that, I think we are ready to go. So let's roll, play ball. Chris Speaker leads it off against Joss. And 1 and an 8, and that is a single. So Speaker, and we're not going to attempt to steal. He actually is not very efficient at stealing. So Eddie Collins, the second baseman, comes up. And 2 and a 5, and that is going to be a ground ball down to second base. And that will advance Speaker. So Collins, he goes out 4-3. And 1 down for the All-Stars. Tyrus Raymond Cobb bats third, the right fielder. And the pitch from Joss, that's a 4-5 to the lefty, and that is going to be a ground ball to first base. And with that, Speaker's going to move to third. So 3 unassisted on the putout for Lajoie. And that brings up our cleanup hitter, Frank Home Run Baker from the Philadelphia A's. Joss the pitch. And 6 and a 6 versus a lefty, and that's going to be a ground out to second base. So Joss gives up a leadoff single. And Speaker does get to third base, but that will do it. And he sets the next 3 batters down. So we head to the bottom of the first inning. American League All-Stars 0, Cleveland Indians 0. Or actually Naps, as they were called at the time, in honor of Napoleon Lajoie, their second baseman and captain. So Jack Graney set to lead off for the Indians against Smokey Joe Wood. And 6 and a 5, the lefty, and that is going to be a split chance, actually. Potential triple on a roll of 9 is not. That will be a single. So Graney on, and a successful steal attempt against Wood with the deductions. And again, holding rule automatically hold runners with a 4-run deficit either way. If it's 5 or more, I do not hold runners. So that would put him at a 1-11. Not going to try it. Ivy Olson up, and in staying with the preferred method of play at the time, we are going to go with a sacrifice here. And Ivy Olson is an A. And 11, and that is going to be a pop-up. So that's straight up in the air, and Gabby Street puts that away, 1 down. So a good bunter, but he just does not get the bat out correctly, and that's 1 out. Shoeless Joe Jackson up. And Smokey Joe with the delivery, and 6-4 to the left-hander, struck him out. So Smokey Joe throwing just that, smoke, and Shoeless Joe goes down swinging. That brings up Nap Lajoie with 2 outs, runner still on first base. And 1 and a 5 against the right-hander, and that is going to be a split chance single. And great play down at third base by Home Run Baker. Lunges and stabs that out of the air. Line out 5. And so the Naps go down. 1 hit, no runs, no errors. 1 runner left. We head to the top of the second inning, 0-0. And Sam Crawford set to lead it off against Joss. And 1 and a 5 against the right-hander. That's going to be a single for Crawford. And Crawford, he would be a 1-11. And he's going to see if he can get a lead here. Anything but a 10 or a 12, and he'll be going. That is an 8, so he's going to steal. And again, 1-11 to be safe. Here comes a throw, and he is gunned down. Easterly with the peg down to second base, and Crawford is caught stealing. So both teams trying to play small ball early here, as was fitting at the time, and neither successful thus far. Hal Chase up. And 4-11 against the right-hander. That's going to be a strikeout for Joss, his first of the game. And Chase volunteering his time for the All-Star game, one of probably the few good deeds he did while a baseball player. Bobby Wallace up, 2 outs, nobody on. And 6-8. And split chance single there. And Wallace drives that back up the middle, so he'll be on first base. And he is a 1-12. And he's going to try and steal 2. Except he needs a 6 to be able to go. I'm not going to get that. So he stays put. And that brings up the catcher, Gabby Street, a teammate of Walter Johnson with the Washington Senators. Joss the pitch. And 4-8 against the right-hander, and that's going to be a fly out to left field. So the All-Stars get a couple of hits, but Crawford is gunned down stealing. 1 runner left. We head to the bottom of the second. Our score still 0-0. The All-Stars and 1911 Cleveland Naps. Joe Birmingham up to face Joe Wood. Smokey Joe kicks, delivers. And 5-7 against the right-hander, and that is going to be a split chance double. And Birmingham ropes that into the gap in left center. Rounding first, and he's into second standing up. So the Naps threatening to break out on top here first in this All-Star game. Neil Ball, the batter. And Ball, he is an A bunter. He's going to lay it down and try and get the runner 90 feet away. And 9 on that. That will be a successful sacrifice. And that goes to the catcher. So 2-3 on the put out there. Sacrifice hit, 1 down, and the Indians have a runner at third base. And that brings up Terry Turner. Wood the pitch. And 3-9 against the right-hander, and that is going to be a ground ball down to second base, and that's going to get a run. I'm sorry, 3-8. Ground ball back to the pitcher. And that will get the run home as well. It's been a while since I played Super Advanced, and the Browns replay, of course, only basic cards on that, so just have to get back up to speed with the charts here. Well, that draws Wood off the mound, so his only play is going to be to first base, and the Indians break on top, 1-0, playing small ball here, and that brings up Ted Easterly, the catcher. Pitch from Wood, and 3-4, and Easterly, that's a ground ball down to first base, and Hal Chase deftly fields that. He'll take it himself. So we are through 2 innings, and the 1911 Indians have struck first. They lead the 1911 American League All-Stars in the Addies Joss Memorial All-Star Game, 1-0, top of the third. And leading off will be Smokey Joe Wood. Joss the pitch, and that's 4-7. And Wood is a right-handed batter. So 4-7 against the righty, and that's going to be a strikeout. And back to the top of the order for Tris Speaker. Speaker singled, made it to third base in the first inning, did not score, was stranded there. And 6-9 against the lefty, and that's going to be a line out straight at second base. So Neil Ball right at him, puts that away, 2 down. And Joss pitching well against those here to support his family. He's giving up 3 hits, but stayed out of trouble for the most part. And 5 and a 6 against the lefty, and that is going to be a fly out center field. So Joe Birmingham puts that away, and 3 up, 3 down for the All-Stars in the top of the third. Heading to the bottom of the third inning, our score, Indians 1, All-Stars at 0. And Joss, he will lead off the bottom of the third for the home team. And 1 and a 5, and that is going to be a strikeout. And that's the second strikeout for Smokey Joe Wood. And we are back to the top of the order. And Jack Graney up, the center fielder. I'm sorry, left fielder for the Indians. He digs in, Wood to pitch. And 4 and a 10. And that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop X. And at short for the All-Stars, Bobby Wallace. He is a 2. Gets to that, and 52. And a roll of 9. So 52, 9, and Wallace makes the play. So 6-3 on a put out, 2 down now, and that brings up Ivy Olson, the Indian shortstop. Olson tried to sacrifice in the first inning, popped out to the catcher. Here comes a pitch. And 5 and a 9 to the righty, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Smokey Joe Wood strikes out 2 in this inning, 3 up, 3 down for the Indians, and we are through 3 innings. Heading to the top of the fourth, 1-0, the Indians lead the All-Stars. Keep saying Indians, Naps lead the All-Stars. And Ty Cobb will lead off the top of the fourth inning. Cobb did not like a lot of people in the game, but even he liked Addies Joss. 5 and a 5. And against the left-hander, that's going to be a ground ball down to first base. So second time Cobb has grounded out unassisted to first baseman Nap Lajoie, 1 down. Frank home run Baker up. Lefty digs in. Here comes a pitch. And 4-11. And that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. So up with that is Ivy Olson over to Lajoie, 2 down. And Sam Crawford looking to get something going. Crawford singled back in the second, was caught stealing. And 6 and a 5 against the lefty. That's going to be a ground ball to shortstop. And Olson is a 3. And he will get to that. And 16. And Olson, an error, is an 80. And that's not going to be good. 80 on a roll of 16, and actually he's going to bobble that, but recover and make the play. So 6-3 on the putout, and another 3 up, 3 down inning for the Naps, and the All-Stars now trail 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Shoeless Joe Jackson set to lead things off. And Jackson, were he not playing for the Naps in this game, would definitely be on the All-Star team. Hit 408. Unfortunately, Ty Cobb hit 420 this season. So 1 and 6 against the lefty, and that is going to be a double to the left field line. And Jackson motors into second base standing up. And the Naps, once again, a runner in scoring position and threatening Smokey Joe Wood here. And the namesake of the team, Nap Lajoie, steps in. 5 and a 2 against a righty, and that is going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. Runner holds. And Lajoie is retired 6-3. Brings up center fielder Joe Birmingham. And Birmingham doubled and scored the game's only run back in the second inning. And 2 and a 5 against the righty, and that is going to be a single. Runners advance 2, so Birmingham scored 1, drives 1 in as Jackson comes around to score. And it is now 2-0. naps over the American League All-Stars. And with the lead, Birmingham is not the greatest of base stealers. You would need 1 to 11. They're not going to risk it. Runner on, Neil ball up, 2-0 lead. Here comes a pitch from Wood, and 2 and an 8, and struck him out. So Wood bounces back, but gives up 2 hits and another run. We are through 4. The 1911 Indians 2, and 1911 American League All-Stars is 0. So Addies Joss has set down 7 in a row since a 2-out single back in the second by Bobby Wallace. Hal Chase struck out his first time up, set to lead it off. And 6 and a 9 against the righty. That's going to be a ground ball down to third. So Chase is retired on the throw over to Lajoie from Turner, 1 down. Shortstop Bobby Wallace. He singled his first time up, digs in, the pitch from Joss, and 1 and a 2. And just a reminder that triples, that would have been a wild pitch check if a runner was on base. Obviously there is not. So 1 and a 2 against a righty, that's going to be ground out to second base. Wallace is gone. 2 outs for Gabby Street, who flew out to left field his first time up today. And 3 and 8, and struck him out. That's a strikeout plus injury. All-Star game, not doing that. So for Joss, that's his 3rd strikeout, and yet another 3-up, 3-down inning. He has the All-Star shackled. That's 10 in a row set down by Addy. As we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, score Indians 2, All-Stars 0. And we actually are going to make a pitching change. Following All-Star guidelines, I should have done this last inning, but just getting into the action of the game, did not. So the big train, he is going to come on. And the Washington Senators ace. And Johnson. And his team won 64 games in 1911, and Johnson won 25 of those. So 39 other wins amongst the rest of the pitching staff. And Johnson, truly good that he did get a World Series championship in 1924 after all those years of toiling for a second division team. But would have been great if he had been able to obtain that championship during his prime. And they did come close. 1913, they finished second. Season Johnson won, I believe he went 36 and 12. I know he won 36 and 9 maybe. I know he did win 36 games that year, but again, one of the all-time greats, 414 career wins, and he is set to face Terry Turner here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And pitch from Johnson, and 1 and a 9, and Turner against the righty, and that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. So Bobby Wallace with the play on that, 1 down. Catcher Ted Easterly up. Johnson the pitch, and 3 and a 5. And that's going to be a split chance double triple. So Easterly gets a hold of 1. And he's going to keep going, coming around second into third base, slides in ahead of the throw. So Johnson in trouble here. And the vaunted offense of the All-Stars is not getting it done, and it's the Naps instead. Keep wanting to say Indians. Cleveland Naps, and Addies Joss is up with 1 out. Addy is going to swing away. He struck out his first time up. Comes a pitch from Johnson, and 4 and a 7 against the righty, and that's a split chance possible single. Joss can help himself, and he does so. So Addy singles in a run. And very, very fitting in And actually, I rolled on the wrong pitcher's card. Well, it doesn't matter. The result came off Johnson, so all good. Just have it flipped right side up for next time. So Joss on at first base. He's not going to try and steal. One out. Top of the order again. Jack Graney up. And Graney, the Naps left fielder, is 1 for 2 today. A single grounded out to shortstop. 1 and a 6 against the righty, and that's going to be a walk. So Johnson, famed for his control, struggling a little bit in his first inning here in this All-Star game. Ivy Olson, the batter. 1 down, 2 on, and looks like they're going to go hit and run, and Olson is a B. So here we go. Hit and run is on. Both runners moving, and a 12. And that is a line out double play. Let's see who that goes to. And that's going to go to the first baseman. So Olson, the rally killer, he lines out to first baseman Chase, who goes over, steps on the bag. And that will do it for the Naps. They do, however, score another run on 2 hits, a walk. Leave 1 base runner, and we are through 5 in our score. 1911 Naps 3, 1911 American League All-Stars 0. And Joss, this will be his last inning of work as Cy Young is up in the home team's bullpen. And predetermined before the game that Joss would go only 6. And set to lead this off is Walter Johnson. And he's going to go ahead and hit. And I just need to make sure I have the right hitter's card up here. He is a 4. Wood was a much better hitter than Johnson. You know, back in the day when these guys played, it was expected that pitchers carry their weight at the plate as well. So, not necessarily a pinch hit situation, and this is an all-star game. So they want to see a couple innings out of Johnson. And the pitch from Joss, and that's a 6 and a 7, and the right-hander. It's going to be a ground ball down to second base X. And ball is a 247, 13. He gets to that. And 47, and 14 on that. And that is going to be an E1. So we have our first error of the game. And it benefits Walter Johnson. And Walter is not going to try and steal here. Back to the top of the order, and the All-Stars looking to get their bats going. They've been limited to 3 hits thus far by Joss, who is pitching a semi-masterpiece. Started a little rough, gave up those 3 hits in the first 2 innings, has been untouchable since then. Comes a pitch, and 4 and an 8 against the lefty. And struck him out, so Speaker does not fan much. Joss with a big strikeout there. 1 down. Johnson remains at first base, and that brings up Cocky Eddie Collins from the Philadelphia Athletics. The linchpin of Connie Mack's $100,000 infield, which also includes Stuffy McGinnis at first base. Frank Home Run Baker at third, and Jack Berry at shortstop. Sometimes going by memory is okay, sometimes it's bad. 2 and a 3, and against the right-hander, Collins, it's going to be a ground ball down to first base, and that will move Johnson to second. As Lajoie takes that one unassisted. So runner on second base in scoring position, 2 outs, and Ty Cobb. Cobb and Joss, an epic matchup of this time period. Runner in scoring position, looking to get the All-Stars on the board. And that's a 1 and an 8 against the righty. And Cobb, he's going to get it done either way. Split chance, and that is a double into the right center field gap. Cobb in easily, standing up at second, and that is an unearned run due to the error by Neil Ball, but Cobb gets the RBI double, and that is the first hit for the All-Star since the second inning. That makes it 3-1, and again an unearned tally for against Joss. Runner on second base now, and Cobb is being held there, and he is a good stealer of third. However, he would need 1 to 12. Not going to risk it with a runner in scoring position, and Frank home run Baker up. 3-7, and Baker gets a hold of that one, and that's down the right field line and into the corner, and Baker back-to-back doubles now, and it's suddenly 3-2, both runs unearned. And Neil Ball looking disgusted with himself. Joss says, shake it off, we're still ahead. But the tying run now on second base, and Sam Crawford up. And Crawford, no easy shakes here. 1-9 against the righty, and Crawford, skinny single, and does not get it. He strokes that ball hard, but Ball makes a nice lunge, picks it up, and makes up for that error somewhat, and the inning is over. But the All-Stars come back, take advantage of an error, get a couple of hits, both doubles, and they plate 2 runs. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. 1911 Naps 3, 1911 All-Stars 2. And shaping up to be a good finish here. That will be Joss's last inning, by the way. It's a shame that he had to end it like that. But still a pretty good line, especially considering the firepower in the All-Stars lineup. He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, both of them unearned. He did not walk anybody and struck out 4 batters. So a good outing by Joss. And the venerable and ancient Cy Young will take the mound for the home team for the last 3 innings, and again in the twilight of his career during his time with Cleveland in 1911. And Young also played for the Boston Rustlers in the National League. But during his time with Cleveland, Young was 3-4, a 3.88 ERA over 7 starts. Did give up 54 hits in only 46 innings pitched, 13 walks, 20 Ks, and allowed 2 home runs. So if they're going to strike against anybody, he will probably be the one to do it. And Johnson comes out to start his 2nd inning of work, and he will get, depending on the score, if the All-Stars take the lead in the next inning, he'll come back out for the 7th. If not, that will be it, and Russ Ford will finish the game for the All-Stars. So Johnson to Joe Jackson, and 4-5 against the lefty. And that's no bueno. Split chance home run. Jackson does have normal power. And Jackson gets a hold of that and goes yard against the big train, connects on the sidearm fastball, and deposits that deep into the right field bleachers. So a rare and vulgar display of power here for the 1911 Naps, and that extends the lead to 4-2 now. Walter Johnson shaking it off. An epic battle there. 2 of the premier players of their day. And Jackson gets the better of him. Nap Lajoie up. And 6-8 against a righty, and that's going to be a fly out to left field. So Lajoie goes down, and that will actually be his last appearance of the game. Going by using pretty much as played lineups, and Lajoie in the actual All-Star game did get 3 at-bats, and then George Stovall came on to finish it. So Stovall, if he gets another chance, he will be in there. And one down, one in, and Joe Birmingham the batter. Johnson the pitch. And 5 and a 7 against the righty, and Johnson struck him out. So the big train now with 2 outs. And that is his first strikeout in his second inning of work. Neil Ball up. Ball has sacrificed and struck out back in the 4th. He's 0 for 1. 5 and a 9 against the righty, and that's going to be a fly ball to center field. And circling under that is Speaker, and he puts that away. But the Naps break through for another run on the leadoff home run by shoeless Joe Jackson into the right field seats. And we head to the top of the 7th inning. Our score is Naps 4, All-Stars 2. And replacements for the All-Stars. Patty Livingston will come in for Gabby Street, and Walter's teammate Clyde Milan will be in center field, starting with the next inning, unless Speaker's spot comes up to bat. So Cy Young to face the crooked one, Hal Chase, here on the top of the 7th inning. Chase is grounded out to third, struck out, and 2 and a 3 against the righty, and that's going to be a single. So Chase is on, and Young not as adept at holding runners. 1 to 12 to steal for Chase, but right now they're playing to catch up, so they're going to sacrifice, and Bobby Wallace is a B. So sacrifice 8. 8B, that is a sacrifice, and a 4. That goes to the first baseman, who gets it over to the second baseman, Ball covering. So Chase moves down to second base. Wallace goes down 3-4, sac hit. And the All-Stars are in business with 1 out and a runner in scoring position, and Johnson's spot is due up second. So Gabby Street is going to be pinch hit for. Now Livingston will come in to pinch hit for Street and assume his role of catching. So Patty Livingston from the A's. And then also from the Senators, Germany Schaefer is going to pinch hit for the pitcher Johnson. So here we go, 1 out, tying run on second base. Cy Young the pitch. 1 and 6 against the righty, and that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. And runner holds at second base, and Livingston is retired. That brings up the pitcher spot. So Johnson will be done, and we will see Russ Ford. And Walter, not the most pristine of outings. In fact, he stands to take the loss in this one. He entered the game in the 5th with a score 2-0. He promptly surrendered a 1-out triple followed by a single to score Easterly, and then gave up a leadoff home run to Jackson in the 6th. So Johnson only goes 2 innings, gives up 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, walks 1 and strikes out 1 and gives up the home run. So Russ Ford is going to finish it off. And Walter just did not have his grade A stuff tonight, which is a shame because he never played for a team that has the bats that this group does here. So perhaps letting up just a tad. But 2 outs now, and the tying run in scoring position, and Germany Schaefer is sent to pinch hit, and he is 14 speed and 15.8 base stealer. All right, Young, ready to go. Here comes a pitch to Schaefer, and that is a 5 and a 7. And against the righty, and Young strikes him out. So Johnson said, I could have done that. So a hit is wasted as the aging Cy Young gets out of it. One base hit, but no damage, and we are heading to the bottom of the 7th inning. 7th inning stretch time at the old ball game, and our score remains the 1911 Naps for the 1911 American League All-Stars 2 in this Addies Joss Memorial Benefit All-Star Game. So Russ Ford now on the mound, and Ford from the New York Highlanders. Take a look at him. He was far and away the only bright spot in that entire rotation in 1911. And you can see he went 22 and 11, a 2.27 ERA over 33 starts. Gave up 251 hits in 281 innings pitched, 76 walks, and 158 strikeouts. Allowed 3 home runs. And he is ready to go to Terry Turner. And 6 and a 7 against the righty, and that's going to be a split chance. Skinny single, and nope. Ground ball down to first base, and Chase snags that, takes it himself, 1 down. Turner retired, and Ted Easterly, the catcher, comes up. And Easterly digs in. Russ Ford the pitch. And 3 and a 6 against the righty, and that is going to be a split chance double. That is a 3, and he wraps that into the gap. So Easterly now has a double and a triple. And he is showing out for the hometown team. And Cy Young, he is a 1 on the hitter's card. So he's going to hit for himself. And there we go. So a runner on second base, and Young, he is an A bunter, and he's going to try and sacrifice Easterly over to third with 1 out. And 9 is sacrifice hit. And catcher's going to get that, so 2-3 on the put out. Sack hit, and runner to third base. And we are back to the top of the order. So 2 outs and an extra insurance run 90 feet away. Ford must retire Jack Graney to get out of this. And the Nap left fielder, he is 1 for 2 today. A single, grounded out short and walked. Here comes a pitch from Ford, 4 and a 9. And against the lefty, that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. Bobby Wallace is a 252. He gets to that. And 18, 10, 52. And he's going to make the play. So a fine play down there by Wallace. Whips that over to Chase, and the inning is over. So the Naps do get another hit, but leave a runner stranded at third base, and we're heading to the top of the 8th inning. Score remains 4-2 in favor of the Naps over the 1911 American League All-Stars. And Cy Young now has his work cut out for him as it's the top of the order for the All-Stars. Tris Speaker steps in. And Spoke, or the Gray Eagle as he was called, had a very solid 1911. You can see there, hit 334, had 34 doubles, 13 triples, and 8 home runs to go with 80 RBIs, a 418 OBP. So very capable. Young gets a sign. And actually, as capable as he is, he's not going to hit, because Clyde Milan is the only field player who has not gotten into this game. So we cannot have that. And Milan, he's actually solid in his own right. Hit 315, one of the premier base stealers of the time period in his prime. Not one of his better years, actually. They're stealing. He was caught 26 times, successful 58. But a 315 batting average and 395 on-base percentage. And a little bit of triple power. He had 8 of them, so Milan will step in to face Young now. And Young the pitch. And 3 and a 5 for Milan, and that's going to be a split chance triple. Needs a 6 and does not get it, but he'll be at first base. So Milan in his first appearance is on, and with a 4-2 lead. And being held, it would be 1-14 to steal with deductions. Milan is 17 and a total of -3 for being held. Young is not good at holding runners on. He's a +1, so 1-14. He's going to go for it. I need to get the jump first. Never mind. Like I said, been a minute since I played Advanced Super Advanced. And 4, he will get the jump, so he will go. Milan, here comes a throw, and he steals that easily in at second base. So now runner at scoring position, and bringing in the speedster paid off as the All-Stars are threatening to edge a little closer here. Eddie Cocky Collins up. Here comes a pitch from Young. And 5 and a 9 against the lefty, and that is going to be a potential split chance home run. And he is a normal. Yep, against right-handers he is normal. So here we go. This could tie the game right here. Needs a 1-6. And Collins does not get that, but he's going to get all the way around to third base. Milan walks home easily. And Eddie Collins, with the most exciting play in baseball, the triple, drives in a run. And there is nobody out. Tying run now 90 feet away. It is 4-3. The Naps lead the 1911 All-Stars. And Tyrus Raymond Cobb, the Georgia Peach, steps in. And Cobb, 3 and an 8, and that's going to get it done. So Cobb singles, his second RBI of the day, second hit as well. And Collins trots home, and Ty Cobb has tied this up. Still nobody out, and Cobb's going to be feeling his oats. He is a 1-17, so with the deduction for being held, and the catching deduction, it's going to be 1-14. He's going to go for it. So let's see if he gets a jump. He needs a 3-8 and gets the jump. Throw down to second base, and Cobb is in there just under the tag. So second stolen base of the inning, and All-Star runners are now 2 and 4 running against the catcher Easterly. So now the go-ahead run, and nobody going in the Naps bullpen. This is Young's to win or lose. Frank home run Baker up, nobody out. Runner in scoring position. Here comes a pitch. And 3 and a 5, Baker against the righty. And Baker, he is going to give the All-Stars a lead, and he rockets that one into the right center field gap, goes opposite field, or pulls it actually. Cobb chugging around to score, and Baker all the way around to third base with a triple of his own. So 4 consecutive hits, and the All-Star bats, who had been silenced for the most part by Joss, and Young in the 7th inning was successful against them, but they explode here in the 8th. And it is now a 5-4 ball game, and runner on third base, Sam Crawford up. Young the pitch. 2 and an 8 against the righty, and that's going to be a single, and another run comes home. So 4th run of the inning is Sam Crawford, the RBI single. And Crawford, he's going to try and steal 2. So 2 to 9 to get the jump, or an 11. And 8, he gets it. And 1 to 12 to be safe, and he is gunned down. So Young cannot retire them. It's up to the catcher Easterly. That's the 3rd time he's gunned down one of the All-Star runners. They are 2 for 5 in steal attempts. Finally 1 down. That brings up Hal Chase, the Dark Prince of baseball. Mr. Corrupt. And 6 and an 8. And against the righty Young, it's going to be a ground ball down to third base. And Turner up with that, whips it over to first. 2 down now. 2 down, but the damage has been done here in the top of the 8th as Bobby Wallace steps in. And 5 and a 3. And that's going to be a fly out to left field X, and in left field, Graney is a 4 range and a 24. So 14, and he gets to that. And 12, so 24, 12. And Graney makes a nice running play, and that gets the inning, retires Wallace and retires the side. But a huge inning for the 1911 All-Stars as they played 4 runs on a total of 5 hits. Do not leave anybody as Crawford was gunned down attempting to steal. And we head now to the bottom of the 8th inning, your 1911 All-Stars 6 and 1911 Naps 4. So Russ Ford will try and close this one out. And he stands to get the win here. 2 and 11 for Ivy Olson against the right-hander. And that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. 1 down there as Wallace makes a nice play. Shoeless Joe Jackson, and Jackson went deep off Walter Johnson his last time up. And the pitch from Russ Ford, and that's a 5 and a 10 against the left-hander. And that's going to be a ground ball down to third base. And home run Baker is a 231. He's going to get to that. And a 10, 31 on a 10. And that's going to be a 1-base error. So the All-Stars have their first error of the game. E5, and Shoeless Joe is aboard. That brings up George Stovall. And Stovall in at first base for Lajoie. And 6 and a 2, and Ford against the righty, and that's going to be another fly ball to left field. So out there, Crawford, and Crawford's going to get to that. And he is a 5, so an exceptional outfielder, and that is a 10. 5 and a 10, and Crawford, a nice running play, and back to first goes Jackson on the fly out. So 2 down now, and Joe Birmingham up. JoJo looking to keep the rally going here. The pitch from Ford, 6 and a 2, and against the righty, that is another fly ball out Crawford's way. And 17, and once again, he will run that down. And 5 and a 6. And Crawford again, a nice play out in left field. So the error does not come back to bite the 1911 American League All-Stars. We're heading to the last inning, and it is 6-4, All-Stars over the Naps. And Cy Young out for his final inning of work, unless they tie the game. And Patty Livingston set to lead it off in his first at-bat. He grounded out to shortstop. Here comes a pitch from Young. 5 and a 10, and it's going to be a catcher X. So behind the plate is Easterly. He is a 5 and a 24. So 1, and that is a WS. WS and a 10. 10, 24. That can't be right. All right, the catcher's X card does not even go up to 24 here. All right, so we'll just use the last column. I'll have to check on that. I'm not going to delay the game waiting, but that is a And he's going to get to that. A weak grounder throws him out. So 2-3 on that put out. That's strange. I'm sure there's something in the rules, and again, it's been a while since I've played this because I've been playing the Browns on basic, so sure there's something I'll have to go back and pick up. And batting now will be Russ Ford, and he is a number 3 hitter's card. So Cy Young the pitch. And 1-2. And that is going to be a single. Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. 1-2 line out into as many outs as possible. So we'll say that goes L6. So 2 down for the All-Stars, and top of the order again, Clyde Milan. He singled, stole, and scored, and that opened the floodgates in the 8th inning as they ended up sending 7 men to the plate and took a 6-4 lead. And Young against the left-hander, and that is going to be a single for Milan, so his second base hit. And he's going to try and get a jump and go again. 2-6 or an 11. He gets it. He's going. And 14. He's going to steal this, and he's in there. So his second stolen base, and the All-Stars now 3 for 6 in stolen bases. They are running. Knapp's holding their own. However, Eddie Collins up. 2 outs. Runner in scoring position. Young wants to close it down right here. A 1-10 against the righty, and that's going to be a single for Eddie, and the runner has to hold at third base. So unable to bring Milan home. And that brings up the great Ty Cobb. Cobb is 2 for 4 today, has 2 runs scored, a couple of RBIs, a double, stolen base of his own. Here comes a pitch, Young to Cobb. 4-6 against the lefty, and he has walked, the bases loaded. So down to second goes Collins, and Cobb is at first, and Young on the verge of having this one get totally out of hand, and the cleanup hitter for the All-Stars, Frank Home Run Baker, steps up. He has doubled and tripled, has a couple of RBIs and a run scored, and 3-11 against the righty, and home run. But fortunately they're playing in Cleveland, which is the worst hitter's ballpark in the American League. Barely ahead of Philadelphia, so he needs a 1 to get this, or this will just be a long, loud out. Baker, and that's it. So Young managed to get out of this and leave the sacks loaded. So we're heading to the bottom of the 9th inning as they get a couple of hits, 1 walk, no runs, leave the sacks jammed. 6-4. And last chance now for the 1911 Naps. Leading it off will be Neil Ball, the second sacker. Russ Ford the pitch. And 4-7 against the righty, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Ball heads back to the dugout, and Chase over at first base nods approvingly to his teammate with the Highlanders. Terry Turner up, Russ Ford to pitch. And 6-6, and again righty on righty matchup, and that is going to be a skinny double chance. 1-8, and no. And that is going to be a nice running catch in center field by Milan. So 2 down. And the Naps down to their last out. This has been an entertaining game for the fans, though, who are on their feet. Addies Joss pitched well in this one. Ted Easterly the last chance. And the left-handed catcher steps in. 1-10, and ground ball back to the pitcher, and that is a potential ballpark single. So for Cleveland, left-handed batter is a 1-13, so he has a good shot to keep it going here, and he does. So Easterly, that ticks off Ford's glove, but he cannot make the play, and the dust cleared, And Easterly has his third hit of the day. He hit 3/4 of the cycle today, has a double and a triple as well. And that is going to bring up the pitcher spot, and they have absolutely nothing to lose here. So we're going to get a pinch hitter. Nap Lajoie wants to come back out and hit again, but not going to happen because he's been pulled. So going to the Naps bench, and it looks like it is going to be Sid Smith. And Smith, .299 hitter in 1911. Going to come up and face down Russ Ford, who's going to try and end this right here. And this has been a really tense game. A great pitching effort by Joss, and the explosion that you knew was just bound to happen with all the bats in this all-star lineup finally came in the 8th against a aging and basically over-the-hill Cy Young. So now they are down to their last out. Runner on first base. Russ Ford doctors the baseball. Winds up. Here comes a pitch, and 4 and a 12 against the right-hander. He's going to walk him. So this one is not over yet, and we are back to the top of the order. And Jack Graney is 1 for 3 today. A couple of groundouts, a walk, and a single. And he represents the winning run. Tying run on base now. Ford gets a sign. Here comes a pitch, and 1 and a 5, and Graney strikes out to end the game. So in the bottom of the 9th, the Naps get a couple runners on a hit and a walk, but Jack Graney leaves them there. And an exciting game, the 1911 Addies Joss Memorial All-Star Tribute game, in which we had Joss come back and pitch a stellar 6 innings for his former team. So final line score here for the American League All-Stars 1911 version. They collect 6 runs. And all the damage came in those last 2 innings. They had a total of 6 hits going into the 8th inning, and they almost matched that total. They're getting 5. So 13 hits for the day, 6 runs, 13 hits, 1 error. And for the hometown Naps, they get 4 runs on 9 hits and also an error. And a very offensive game for the dead ball era. And that's one thing about the dead ball era too. Batting average in 1911 in the American League anyway was .273, which was a full 18 percentage points higher than last year in the Major Leagues 2017. And in fact, since 2010, that batting average is 15 to 20 plus percentage points higher than any cumulative average the major leagues have put up. And obviously the game has changed. Back then it was about runner advancement, base to base, lots of bunts, hit and runs, and just putting the ball into play. And now, of course, the big difference is the number of strikeouts and number of home runs is totally dwarfed. In 1911, a little over, I think, 541 home runs, 540 something were hit in 1911, and obviously 6,105 last year, so a good 5,500 more home runs. And I don't know the strikeout totals, but I know it's obviously substantially more last year as well. As the average per game last year was over 8 per team, which set a record as well. But still, you know, the one thing about the dead ball era, it was not devoid of offense. The reason you saw a lot of the low ERAs is, yeah, there was some obviously excellent pitching going on, but also a lot more unearned runs due to the fact that equipment was not even close to being on par with what it is today. Playing often into twilight. less than stellar fields. In fact, we talked about Hal Chase earlier on, and the park the Highlanders played on, Hilltop Field, that was easily one of the worst parks in the American League when it opened. When it opened in 1903, the right field area was still basically a swamp that was at a lower elevation than the rest of the field because it needed to be backfilled with rock. Very sparse amounts of grass anywhere in the outfield when it opened. So grandstand wasn't completed, clubhouses weren't completed, just a rush job to get someplace for the Highlanders to play. So it's kind of the difference between eras, but again, fun game, and enjoyed doing this and got a little taste of the 1911 team set. And again, took a little bit longer because I've been playing basic with the St. Louis Browns time machine replay, so I had to really get back up to speed with the super advanced rules, which I did not really reacquaint myself with prior to playing. So I'm sorry it took a little bit longer, but still a fun game. Once again, the final 1911 All-Star 6, 1911 Indians 4, and Addies Joss, great outing, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, both unearned, no walks, 4 Ks. Cy Young came on, and he took the loss for the 1911 Naps, and Russ Ford of the Highlanders got the win for the All-Stars as he pitches the final 3 innings and only gives up 2 hits, no runs. And Ford struck out 2 and walked 1. So really the roughest outings in terms of pitchers on both sides were the 2 pitchers who have the most wins in Major League history. Cy Young with his 513 was shellacked in the 8th, and Walter Johnson gave up a run in both of his innings of work, and he's of course in second place and wins with 414. So anyway, that is it from American League Park in Cleveland. Until next time, thanks for watching, and keep rolling for the fences. This is Anthony. We'll see ya.